My husband looked at me like I was a problem he needed to fix. He leaned back on the couch, arms spread, voice cold. He said, "If you can't handle me spending weekends with my ex, go to hell." He said it like it was nothing, like my pain was noise, like I was lucky he even bothered to answer me. I stood there in the doorway, hands shaking. I used to think Carter loved me. I used to believe I mattered. But in that moment, something inside me cracked, quiet and clean. I did not yell. I did not beg. I did not ask for an explanation. I just watched him. He scrolled on his phone while I tried to breathe through the hit he had just delivered. He didn't even look up when he added that Marlo, his ex, understood him better than I ever would. He said she was fun, easy, no drama. He said I should learn from her. He said I was too serious, too demanding, too focused on work. Every word was a small knife, slipped in with a smile. I swallowed everything. The anger, the hurt, the disbelief. I had given this man my time, my trust, and my heart. I had turned down 2 international transfers for him. 1 in Tokyo, 1 in Singapore. Both were dream roles. Both were chances to push my cybersecurity career forward. He said he needed me here. He said we were building a life. He said distance would ruin us. Now he spent weekends with his ex because she was fun. He called it harmless. He said I was insecure. He said I was controlling. He said he hated how I always questioned things. He said I imagined problems that did not exist. Then he added the final blow. If this marriage is too hard for you, then maybe you need to leave. The casual cruelty in his voice stunned me. I felt myself shrinking. I felt myself folding into the small, safe space inside me that I built during the worst fights. The space where I could hide from his tone, his jokes, his dismissals. But something else moved under the fear. A flicker of clarity. A spark of something sharp. He didn't see it. He never saw anything unless it benefited him. I walked to the bedroom. My steps felt heavy. The air felt thick. I sat on the edge of the bed and stared at the floor. My mind replayed every time I let things slide. Every insult. Every moment I laughed off something that hurt. Every time I put him first while he placed me somewhere behind his career, his friends, and now his ex. I realized I had been living in a house built on his terms, his rules, his moods. He chose when I was allowed to be upset. He chose when I should swallow it. He shaped the truth, so I always ended up feeling wrong for reacting. My phone buzzed with an email notification. I almost ignored it. When I checked, I froze. It was the offer from Hellion Global, the Singapore transfer, the one I had rejected last year because Carter said it was a bad time for him. Human Resources had reopened it. They needed an answer within 2 weeks. They said I was the strongest candidate. They said they hoped I reconsidered. My chest tightened. I felt the weight of everything I had put aside. I saw how I had bent myself to make my marriage work. I had convinced myself that love meant sacrifice. But love is not supposed to erase you. Carter yelled from the living room asking what I wanted for dinner. His tone was irritated, like he was tired of waiting for me to serve him. I stared at my screen while something settled inside me. Quiet. Steady. I did not reply. That night, he acted like nothing happened. He cracked jokes. He talked about his day. He mentioned he might go skiing with Marlo next weekend. He waited for me to react. I said nothing. Silence confused him. He hated silence. Silence meant he couldn't control the direction of the conversation. He asked if I was still mad. I said no. My voice was calm. Too calm. He narrowed his eyes. He sensed something, but could not name it. He touched my arm and asked if we were okay. I nodded. He smiled, relieved. He always trusted my ability to forgive more than his ability to change. Later, when he fell asleep, I slipped out of bed. I sat at my desk and opened my laptop. My hands moved with a cold confidence I had not felt in years. I was a cybersecurity specialist. I protected entire companies from breaches and threats. I spent years learning how to see patterns other people missed. I understood the architecture of secrets, and my husband had many. I connected to the shared home network and began tracing activity. I had never checked before out of trust, out of fear, out of hope. Tonight, that hope was gone. I scanned devices. I checked timestamps. I opened logs he never knew existed. And the truth surfaced line by line. His weekends with Marlo were not new. They started 8 months ago. The messages were flirtatious at first, then emotional, then explicit. He sent her pictures. He complained about me. He told her he felt trapped. He told her he planned to make me look unhinged if I ever tried to leave. He had even drafted posts for social media, painting himself as a neglected husband whose wife was obsessed with work. He planned to make me the villain. I opened folders he hid behind encryption. Not strong encryption. Not for someone like me. Inside them were screenshots of my messages taken out of context, clipped audio recordings of arguments, and notes about how to spin everything. He had prepared a narrative months before tonight. He had been building a story where he was the victim and I was the cold wife who pushed him away. My stomach twisted. My vision blurred. I felt humiliated but not defeated. The betrayal hit, but the clarity hit harder. I saved everything. Every file, every message, every log. I backed them up in multiple secure locations. I packaged the data so cleanly that anyone could follow the timeline without confusion. I looked at the Singapore offer again and finally saw what I had been afraid to see for too long. My life was waiting somewhere else. A soft calm washed over me. I whispered to myself, not him, not anyone, just me. I am done. I closed the laptop and looked at the man sleeping in my bed. The man who told me to go to hell for asking for respect. The man who believed I would never leave because he had convinced me that I was nothing without him. He had no idea that tonight was the last night he would ever hold that power. I woke up before sunrise. Carter was still asleep, sprawled across the bed like someone who never feared losing anything. I watched him for a moment, not with love, not with anger, with distance. I felt like I was observing a stranger who happened to share my roof. He stirred when I moved. He asked where I was going so early. His voice was soft now, almost gentle, the opposite of the man who told me to go to hell last night. He always shifted like this. Cruel 1 minute, sweet the next. It kept me off balance. It kept me attached. I told him I had work. He nodded and closed his eyes again. He did not notice the suitcase tucked under the bed. He did not notice the missing documents. He did not notice the silence in my tone that used to worry him. He didn't notice because he never paid attention to anything that didn't serve him. At the office, I met with HR. I said yes to the Singapore transfer. My voice was steady. They looked surprised. They knew I had rejected it before. They knew I always chose stability. They asked when I could relocate. I told them 2 weeks. They smiled and said they were thrilled to have me. They began arranging housing, travel, and my onboarding as regional security lead. I felt something lift off my chest. Not joy, not yet, but air, space. I walked out of the meeting with a new timeline, a new direction, a new self forming piece by piece. At home, I acted normal. I cooked. I cleaned. I listened to him talk about his ski plans with Marlo. He said she bought new gear. He said she missed him. He said he might stay at her cabin for the whole weekend. He watched my face the whole time, waiting for anger, waiting for jealousy. I gave him none. The absence of reaction made him restless. He asked if I was okay. He asked if I wanted to talk. He said he hoped I wasn't still upset about last night. He said he didn't mean it. He always said that after the damage was done. The apology was never real. It just reset the cycle. My silence broke him more than yelling ever did. Each night, after he fell asleep, I worked. I secured my files. I closed joint accounts he never bothered to check. I backed up every piece of evidence against him. I copied financial records. I created a timeline of transactions that would be useful later. He had been siphoning money into a hidden account. Small amounts, spread across months, enough to matter in court. I did not confront him. I did not warn him. I saved everything. Then I locked my digital world so tight that even a seasoned hacker would struggle to enter. Carter was not a seasoned hacker. He barely knew how to reset his passwords. He would try to snoop when he sensed I was pulling away. I wanted to be ready. The night before his ski trip, he asked if I wanted to join him and Marlo. He said it as a joke, but the joke had teeth. He liked to test the limits of my tolerance. I smiled and said I had a work deadline. He looked relieved, almost smug. He left the next morning. He kissed my cheek like he was giving me a gift. His breath smelled like mint. His hands were warm. His eyes were empty. He told me to relax and not overthink things. He said couples who trust each other don't fight about small stuff. He drove away. I watched his car turn the corner. I waited until his taillights vanished. Then I picked up the suitcase from under the bed. I checked into a hotel across town. I spent the weekend preparing for the move. I called HellyinAsia to confirm my arrival date. I arranged movers. I booked flights. I transferred my savings into a secure account under my name alone. Carter texted me pictures with Marlo, him smiling, her laughing, mountains in the background. He loved performing happiness. He wanted me to feel left out. He wanted to punish me for not reacting. I sent a single message back. Glad you're having fun. He read it instantly. Then he sent a long voice note saying I sounded cold, distant, off. He asked if he did something wrong. He asked if we needed therapy. He said he cared about me. He said he wanted us to work. He said he didn't want to lose me. He didn't know he already had. When the weekend ended, he came home energized, happy, relaxed. He walked into the house, expecting to see me waiting. Instead, he saw half the closet empty. He saw the bathroom drawers cleared. He saw the bookshelf missing my side. He froze. He called my name. His voice shook. He walked through the house faster and faster, checking every room like he expected me to appear out of thin air. His phone buzzed. It was my scheduled message. I had set it to send 30 minutes after his arrival. I told him I accepted the Singapore job. I told him I would be gone before the end of the week. I told him this was my decision and it was final. He called me 20 times. He sent paragraphs. He said I misunderstood everything. He said he only went to Marlo to avoid stress at home. He said he needed space, not distance. He said I was abandoning him. He said I was choosing work over love. He said I was breaking our vows. He said I was ruining his life. Then he blamed me. Then he begged me. Then he insulted me. Then he apologized. Then he repeated the cycle. I did not answer. He drove to my office. Security turned him away. He tried again the next day. They turned him away again. On the third day, he tried to access my email. The system flagged unusual activity. I watched the alert in real time. He attempted my passwords. He tried to reset my credentials. He tried to open shared folders that no longer existed. He panicked, and in his panic he exposed himself. Hellien's system recorded everything. Unauthorized login attempts from his devices, repeated breaches, violations of digital privacy policies. This information would matter later. On my last night in the city, I sat in my hotel room with the lights off. My flight was at 6 a.m. The room felt quiet. Too quiet. I stared at the skyline outside the window. I thought about the woman I used to be, always waiting for Carter to choose me, always hoping he would change. I finally understood he never would. When I boarded the plane, I felt the weight of my old life fall away as the engines lifted us into the air. I did not cry. I did not look back. I sat with my hands in my lap and breathed. Singapore rose in front of me with clean lines and bright lights. It felt like possibility. It felt like a real life. My life. But Carter did not vanish. He followed me in ways I expected and in ways I did not. Singapore was a reset button I had needed for years. The air felt cleaner. The streets felt alive. My new office towered over the city, bright and structured. Everything my marriage had never been. I met my team. I stepped into my role. I felt my shoulders drop for the first time in a long time. But Carter did not stop. He sent flowers to my office. They arrived with long notes about memories he suddenly valued. He sent emails saying he was improving himself. He said he was learning to communicate. He said he missed me. When none of that worked, he accused me of humiliating him. He said people were talking. He said I made him look weak. I ignored all of it. 1 week later, Hellion notified me about a disciplinary report involving unauthorized access attempts linked to my account. The logs matched Carter's devices. He had tried to break into my files again. It became evidence. Clean, direct, helpful. My lawyer prepared the divorce case. Everything I collected before leaving became the backbone of the strategy. Messages, photos, financial logs, recordings he never knew were saved. His plan to frame me collapsed under the weight of his own words. Carter joined the first hearing through video call. He looked tired. He looked older. His voice shook as he tried to explain his side. My lawyer played the logs, showing him logging into my files at 3 a.m. The judge watched in silence. The truth did not need decoration. The ruling favored me completely. Financial mismanagement, emotional abuse, digital misconduct, public behavior that harmed his own career. All of it traced back to him. He lost his job after the Aspen retreat went viral. Someone recorded him bragging about juggling his wife and his ex. He laughed about how easy it was to manipulate smart women. The clip spread fast. His company released a statement. He was dismissed within 48 hours. Marlo left him soon after. She blocked him on everything. His friends pulled away. His parents told him to take responsibility. He had no one left to blame but himself. He still sent me long messages. He still said I ruined him. I never replied. Life in Singapore grew steady. I worked long hours. I rebuilt my savings. I met people who valued my mind. My confidence returned piece by piece. I took walks by the water at night and felt safe. I slept without fear for the first time in years. I felt like I had stepped into my real life. Then one evening, something changed. I returned to my apartment and noticed my router lights blinking in a pattern that was not normal. It looked like a ping loop. Someone was testing the network. Someone skilled. Someone patient. I opened my laptop. A notification appeared before I even touched the keyboard. A single line. Nice firewalls. My breath caught. The message had no source, no origin, no traceable path. Someone was watching. Someone who knew exactly what I could do. Someone who wanted me to know they were there. I closed the laptop slowly. My story with Carter was over. Something else had just begun.